Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Emma Chase. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We're diving right into one of our favorite topics: why you don't need to be a giant to be a favorite. This is something that is talked about a lot. Emma Chase and I talk about it many times to our clients, and we hear it all over the chats that we have on a day-to-day basis. The size of your brand today does not define the size of your potential. And that's a really important message, because what matters is how you connect and knowing the right moves to make. So in the next few minutes, probably about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, depending on how things go, Emma Chase and I are going to unpack what consumers are telling us they want and how brands of any size can stand out, connect, and grow. And it's really about constantly looking at your fundamentals. And maybe as we're stepping into fall, this is the best time to do it. Because in fact, when we ask consumers specifically, do you have a favorite brand? 96% of consumers have a favorite brand. And we actually ask them to name them as well. And then 95% have three favorites. So 95% of people have three favorite brands. And what was really exciting to us is that there were over 1,000 brands that were mentioned. Now, the big names were mentioned, of course, and I think that everyone can probably guess who they are in the audience. But the key insight here is that, and what got us really excited to share, is that medium and small brands were also mentioned among the global big guys. So this was exciting because we hear all the time how brands are really nervous about the big players and wondering if they actually have a spot and how can they compete because they are outspent by their competitors. But the reality is that there are new brands that are launched all the time, either rightly or wrongly. Some are successful, some are not. Consumers are loving local and made in country right now. So you do have a place, and actually you might have the pole position depending on what you're looking to do and how you're looking to connect. You just have to be really strategic about it. So there are lots of questions out there. Where should I focus? What do consumers really want from me? How can I take the first steps to grow my business, my brand, my impact, and everything in between? So because sometimes inspiration comes from listening, right, Emma Chase? We know this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We listen to consumers all the time. We wanted to share and talk about 6 things that consumers are saying will get them to try you for the first time and then keep them coming back for more. And this is analysis from over 6,000 responses to identify the drivers of first purchase and trial. So why don't we jump in to the six key themes?
Let's jump in.
So the first one is highlight what connects. And it's really important to pause on this one for a minute, because a lot of people jump into making people aware of them and driving awareness. But the reality is you have to understand what your position is, and you have to understand what your messaging is. It's absolutely essential, and it's your starting point. And this is what consumers are saying specifically: freshness, taste, company stance. These are just a few things that consumers are saying, but they're actually saying, tell me what connects with me. Say something that's going to connect with me. And we found that that's really interesting.
I find it really interesting that company stance is listed here so prominently. It clearly matters to consumers, but it's something that I think can feel really risky for brands. So you want to just talk through what the best way to approach that is?
Yeah, I mean, again, you have to be strategic about what your company stance is going to be. You have to understand how it fits into the role that you play as a brand. So it's not about the person, it's not about the people in the boardroom, it's about the brand that you're standing behind. And you need to understand what consumers are looking for as well, and then determine how it best connects and how it fits within the position and the messaging and all of the marketing that you have in the universe. And so that will help you then determine if it's going to actually accelerate you or if it's going to potentially detract from your brand. So you have to be really strategic about it.
Yeah.
So even though consumers are saying it, they're saying it's company stance specifically. That could also be, your purpose in their lives. That could be, charity and cause that you stand behind. It could be beliefs that you have as an organization. So just be really clear on what those things are and how you strategically leverage them before you connect with the consumer with them.
Yeah, the context there is so important.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that we wanted to talk about on this is like the importance of, and growing brands, big, small, new, old. While I was at Coke and while I was at my other organizations before coming over to IMI, it's really important to get out of your own head and get into the insight, to really get to know your potential consumer or your customer or your competitors best as well. Determine who they are. What are their interests? What are their passions? What tensions are they feeling in their lives right now that you can solve? Learn about them, listen to them, watch them as well, and get out of the boardroom, get out of your own mind, get out of your own thoughts and feelings about who these consumers are, and actually learn about them so that you can determine how to best connect and move your brand forward.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I know you have so much experience brand side. So that's also really helpful context in terms
Yeah,
of.
it's sitting in a boardroom and we're pulled into meetings here and there, and you're running and you're just trying to get
Yeah,
things done. Taking that pause and understanding, okay, who am I really looking to get to right now? And how am I actually going to connect is baseline.
absolutely. And it's grounding.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely grounding. Okay, so let's go on to number two. Number two is let them know that you exist. And this is what consumers are saying right from their mouths. They want you to advertise to them. So advertise to me, communicate with me. I want to hear about you by word of mouth. And so recommendations. So the reality is if you're not out there, you literally don't exist. There's so many things that are going on in consumers' minds. We know that there's 2,500 different touch points that all of us have in any given day. So if you are not talking to your consumer, you literally don't exist in their minds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious to know what the recommendation would be for a brand that's smaller or just starting out, that can't necessarily match the big pockets of their competitors, what that looks like for them.
We get a lot of questions about this as well. And it's actually really fun to tackle these types of circumstances because you need to be very strategic about it. And so what we always talk about is start with the low hanging fruit. Who's the high value consumer and or the key segment that you're looking to go after? It could also include geography. Create a groundswell. And so, the best ROI is having someone else sell or endorse your product and what you do as a brand. That's the best ROI out there. So there are so many different ways. There are multiple ways of letting them know that you exist. If you're a brand that's starting out, think about laser targeting versus what we call spray and pray.
Yeah.
I'm going to launch this product. I'm just going to announce it to the world, and then I'm going to cross my fingers and let's hope that something happens. But being very strategic about it, even from a geographic or a lifestyle perspective, and getting to those high value consumers, gaining that momentum, understanding how you connect with them, and then creating that groundswell can be very effective and is very effective for brands that are starting out.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. And don't also on that one as well, don't also try to go and get all the listings,
Yeah.
right? And especially if you're a CPG, because you need to mean something to the consumer. They can see you on shelf, but if they don't know about you and they're not familiar with you and you haven't talked to them, then you're not going to create necessarily that intrigue unless your packaging really stands out and you say something in store, you need to have that intrigue that's going to pull them in and have, the resonance when they walk in store, as well as the interaction when they are in the in-store situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's essential also for the consumer to know what role that brand plays in their life as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go into number 3, straight from the minds of the consumer, building a solid reputation and image. So consumers said to us, trust, create that trust with me. I want to buy something that's cool. I'm going to try something that's cool for the first time. And we know that the younger generations, trial of new is very, very prevalent, and provide better offerings that the competitor has. And so people must not only be aware, but familiar with and attracted to your brand. And it's not about unique. It's about relevant, compelling, and better than the competition. So knowing what your consumer will engage with and why they will engage with you will help bring them in, then develop the trust by delivering it. And that will keep them coming back for more.
Why do you think that brands, and especially those that are just starting out, struggle with that fine balance of unique and relevant?
Yeah, it's interesting because we're taught to find something that's differentiated from the competition. But sometimes when we're looking at differentiation and something that's differentiated, we're not going towards what's actually going to be relevant.
Yeah.
So you can be similar to the competition in the makeup of your product, your service, but make sure that you know what the benefit to the consumer is and be better than the competition. So, one of the people that we've been talking to, a number of times, has always talked about, knowing exactly who you're targeting.
Yeah.
And just pinpointing them. And it doesn't have to be different. It doesn't have to be unique. It has to be relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great message to come back to, is that different doesn't always equal better.
Different doesn't always equal better.
Yeah.
So number 4 is provide value. So consumers are saying that they want brands and businesses and products and services to provide value to them. So this is from their words: give me value, quality guarantee, competitive quality. Now, value is a small word, but it's a complex offering. But it's absolutely essential to consumers. And it's not about the lowest price. It's not about the cheapest. You can be a high-priced brand, a high-priced service, but you provide value and you provide quality at the right price to that consumer. So it's really what the perceived value is for the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think defining value is so important in this context.
Yeah, it does. It comes in so many different shapes and sizes. So the key really is to understand, what does your brand stand for? What is your brand position? What are the benefits to the consumer? And it's not about you, it's about them. I mean, we talk about that all the time at IMI. It's not about us, it's about our clients, and how can we best help our clients, and how can we help best set them up for success so that they can accelerate their growth, their revenue, their profit, their ROI. It's the same thing when you're talking to your consumer about your brand. It's about them. So if you define what that is, what the benefits are, make them strong, make your position strong, then you go to price.
Yeah.
And that's where the value is. If you go to price right away, it's a race to the bottom from a business perspective. If you're always on price discount, then they expect that you're always going to be on price discount. But if you have a product that offers genuine value to them, that's going to stick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important to keep in mind, that in some instances, price really does come second.
Oh, and I love that consumers actually said this. It's consumers that said value. We couldn't believe it. So let's go to number 5. Number 5 is enticing trial.
Mm.
So consumers are saying, entice me in. Give me free samples, give me swag. People love free things, and promotions. Listen,
Yeah.
promotions have been a very strong way to entice trial and to drive your brand, and to create those connections. It has been that way for many, many years, and it will be today and for the future. So effective promotions are absolutely critical. We just released a blog on this as well. Steve Bukovetsky from our office, from the IMI office, wrote it, and just giving you to the best practices on promotions. And consumers are actually saying, give me
Yeah.
things, entice me in. But the key here is that it has to be low risk to them, and it has to be easy for them. And so thinking about that with your brand, your product, or your service, what's the one thing that's sort of low risk that you can provide, that is also not going to negatively impact your ROI, but that will entice trial of your brand, your product, or service?
Yeah, it's incredibly effective. And I've fallen victim to give me something free so many times. And the most recent example is Good Foods. They offer a free box.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored, by the way. It's just free promo for Good Foods. But they offered me a free box, and I was like, oh my God, this has made my life so much easier during the weekday. And I've been a customer for over 2 years now.
I think that's
And
pretty
it was just
amazing.
from one free box. So
Yeah.
it definitely can work.
Yeah, and low risk to you, and they made your life easier.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story of the skin cream that I
Ooh.
had this weekend when I was shopping with my daughter. Like, I am a fickle shopper. I hold my money very close to my chest. And when I was shopping, I was at checkout, and the retailer asked if I wanted to try this new cream, and of course you're like, okay, of course I'll try it.
Yeah.
I tried it, I liked it, and she just left it there.
Oh,
So I cashed out, I bought what I was going to buy, but then I was thinking, if she would have said, today there's a special price, or there's $10 off, or there's a free gift if you purchase this, if there was something that was still it was still a soft sell, it wasn't being pushy, but she offered it to me, it would have taken the transaction to that next level. And I most likely, I love a deal.
yeah.
Who doesn't love a deal? And because I liked it, I would have actually purchased it, and she would have had that transaction. And so to
Mm,
me, that was a missed opportunity, and just a bit of a lesson to all of us to make sure that it's not a negative thing to take it to that next step, and try to entice the purchase.
yeah.
Consumers want it, and they're seeking it out, but you just need to do it in the right way. You
Yeah.
can't push it on consumers. That's not going to work.
No, you need to take the onus of creating the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So number 6, and the last one, right from the consumer's mouth, what they say is going to, make them try you for this first time and keep you coming back for more. This is really the keep you coming back for more side of things, is provide exceptional experience. So be easy to contact, accessibility, be friendly. The experience is generally underrated, but it's absolutely integral. So if you're thinking about your brand and creating a customer experience, if you have a front line, if you're in retail and you have a front line, make sure you spend the time to train those people. If you are a brand that's online, make sure that the experience of shopping with you is easy, that your customer service is friendly, and all of those really small things make a big difference to creating a large impact for your brand. And we know that $30 billion, Emma Chase, is lost every year due to frustration with an experience alone. Now,
Yeah.
think about that. Like, if you could regain some of that revenue, if you could regain some of that profit just by putting a little bit more time into the experience, it's absolutely worth your while. And that will also help drive that word of mouth.
Yeah.
And that word of mouth is absolutely essential to medium brands, to small brands, but also large brands. Any brand, product, or service out there, word of mouth is absolutely essential.
Yeah, I know we talk about honesty a lot when we talk about building a trusted brand, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how that plays into providing an exceptional experience, especially when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty key component here, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, we know that trust is essential, right? Over 70% of consumers purchase because they trust a brand.
Yeah,
So you need to build trust. If you have it, you need to keep it. And if you don't have it, then you need to build it. Now, if you do lose it, there are things that consumers say will get them back. So 65% of consumers say that they will come back if something is done. 30% of those say that, give them something free, give them money, like everybody wants money, right? Give them money, give them something free. And others say, just apologize and be honest and be upfront and be true and treat me like a human being, and then they will most likely purchase you again. Now, if you're a strong brand, they're more likely to purchase you again right off the bat, but you still need to do something. Do you want
yeah.
me to tell you the story of the hydrangea?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's share the story of the hydrangea with everyone. This was an example that was actually from my own world, in that it was a pretty busy time in my life. We were coming up into spring, and I had a daughter who was willing to plant some things for us in our garden, and I wanted to capitalize on that moment because they don't come all the time. And so I thought, I couldn't get out to get something, so I ordered and I tried an online service for the hydrangea. And I gave them a chance. I knew that they were a small to a medium-sized business. And when the plant came, this is what I got. And if it's hard to see in the photo, it was basically dead. It was crinkled, it was brown, and I was so disappointed. And I wasn't only disappointed in the plant, but I felt for the company. And
Mm.
I was disappointed that the company was giving this to their customers. So I wrote them back. I let them know about my experience. And actually, the first touch point with them was they just said, we're really sorry, and they refunded me the money.
Hmm.
But the response felt a little bit canned. It felt a little bit AI generated.
Too
And
many M
so
dashes.
too much exactly. And so I actually thought, because I care and I really care about accelerating businesses and brands, that I would write them back and I would let them know how important the customer experience was, and that in giving my money back, they still left me with a bad product. And
Mm.
so I just sent that note to see what they would say, and they came back with this, and it says, hope you're doing well today. I just read your response. And I wanted to personally reach out. So this was the owner. We're a small business, truly values every single customer, and all our messages are written by real people that genuinely care. Your support means the world to us, and I'm sorry if we didn't handle it perfectly the first time. That said, I want to make it right. I've gone ahead and created an order for a replacement, free of charge, and it'll be shipping out very shortly. Now, I don't have a picture of the new one. I should have actually included it, but they did send a new one, and it was beautiful. And so now my last touch point with them is a satisfied customer, and it was pretty much low risk and low cost to them at the end of the day. And so we wanted to share the story of the hydrangea and how these small touch points are really important for your consumer.
Yeah, they really are. I think it's such a simple practice in essence, own it and make it right. But when you're in the thick of it in the day to day, it can feel like so much. So I think it's great to get grounded in an example like this. Great story.
Yeah, and there's another example of Jim Pattison, and I I don't know if everybody in the audience knows who Jim Pattison is, but he's a Canadian mogul, billionaire, and one of his businesses is Save On Foods, and there was a bit of a moment with Save On Foods a number of years ago, and there were a number of customers that physically said, "I'm not going to be purchasing from you anymore," and he didn't shy away from this. He actually took the time and he called every single one of those customers. Now he knew who they were, but he called every single one of those customers. So think about it. If Jim Pattison can do that, knowing how busy he is, we can do that. And so taking the time and saying that and calling each and every one of them is absolutely essential. So that's where the customer experience comes in. And it was the owner, the CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, who actually just called him out of the blue, and he told him that story. He shared it on LinkedIn. So wanted to share it with you today.
Yeah, that's amazing. Another incredible example.
So those are the essentials. Let's go through the essentials checklist straight from the consumer. These are right from the words of the consumer on how you can get them to try you and come back for more. 1, highlight what connects. 2, let them know that you exist. Build a solid reputation and image. 4, provide value, entice trial, and provide exceptional experience. And I know that Kat is going to put in the chat the link to download these so you can keep them close to you and you can keep yourself grounded on the fundamentals as you look to grow your brand moving forward. And we hope that it helps. Now, we have so much more that's going to be coming up, so many more content pieces and blogs and webinars and LinkedIn Lives. So never miss an update. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll leave this up here for a little bit right now. Many marketers are attuned to the newsletter and they keep on coming back for more. So I guess we've gotten them to try it for the first time and are delivering benefit and getting them to come back for more. So sign up for our newsletter or keep in touch. We are always open for a conversation. Love talking about brands, love talking about brand growth and communication effectiveness. So feel free to shoot me a note or send me a line.
Absolutely.
And then just a peek behind the curtain of what's coming up from IMI. We have a lot of really exciting things coming up for you coming into the fall, through the winter, and into next year. Coming up just in a couple of weeks' time, actually, I can't believe how fast this is, on September 25th, is Elevating the Game of Good, How Brands and Charities Can Turn Intentions into Action. And that's going to be presented by Laura Janes from IMI, another senior vice president there. And she's an incredible presenter. And so make sure that you tune into this if you're a brand looking to get into cause, or if you are a cause or a charity really looking to propel yourself forward. It's going to be essential insight you need to know. We also have coming up a lot of questions about Gen Z. So we're going to be sharing out how to effectively reach and resonate with this really important cohort. And then looking into next year, because, oh my goodness, Emma Chase, we're going into 2026.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready either, but I am ready to talk about wellness and the say-do gap. So we're going to be bringing to you the say-do gap in wellness buying behavior, because we know that there is trend moving towards wellness in a large way right now, but there is a say-do gap, and so there is room for those treats and the other side of the coin that may not be that great for you, but consumers are still trying them and coming back for more. And so we're going to be bringing you that in the coming year. So thanks for watching, everyone who tuned in. From small steps to big impact, 6 things you need to know to grow your brand, straight from the mind of the consumer. And we hope that you have an incredible rest of your day or evening, wherever you're joining us from.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Emma Chase.
Thanks, Vanessa. Bye.